Today we are going to kind of continue to hold on to our why and think about it, but now we're going to dig into another tool to help build our awareness. So I know we've talked a little bit about how this first unit for Futures Lab seminar is really all about awareness, and it's really thinking about that question of how do I show up in the world? What are my beliefs? What are my strengths? Because we really firmly believe that when you have a high level awareness of yourself and how you impact others and what's important to you and what you're good at, it's going to bring you so much more future success. So that's why we're studying that here in Futures Lab. So today we're going to dive into this tool that comes from this book, The 4 Tendencies by Gretchen Rubin. And Gretchen Rubin is a woman who has studied happiness and fulfillment for a long time. Her book before this one of her books before this one was called The Happiness Project. And her research on the 4 tendencies really came out of what she found in her research about happiness. And I'm going to use notes today because I'm kind of learning about the 4 tendencies alongside you. I am no expert on this, but I'm going to lead us through learning about it together. So I'll give you a quote from the author Gretchen Rubin to kind of begin with. She says, "When we consider the 4 tendencies, we are better able to understand ourselves. Self-knowledge is crucial because we can build a happy life only on the foundation of our nature, our own interests, and our own values. Just as important, when we consider the 4 tendencies, we're better able to understand other people. We can live and work more effectively with others when we identify their tendencies. Understanding the 4 tendencies gives us a richer understanding of the world and a richer understanding of ourselves." So basically what these 4 tendencies are about is understanding how you tend to respond to external expectations. So when you have a deadline for homework, when somebody asks you for a favor, when you have chores to do at home, cleaning up your room, doing your dishes, things like that. And so it's how we respond to those outer expectations and then those inner expectations. Kind of those things we think about ourselves, like I'd like to drink more water, or I'd like to work out more and go for more walks, whatever it might be. For some of us, it might be connected to that question we answered last week on what's one habit we'd like to change. Sometimes those habits we'd like to change reflect some of our own inner expectations. So if you look at our kind of bullet list of tasks for today in Schoology, you can kind of get an idea of what we're doing. It's pretty important for today's work that you do it in order, because we're going to be making some predictions and then taking a quiz and finding out which kind of tendency we generally are, and then going back and doing some more discussion. If you do it out of order, it won't make a lot of sense to you. So the first thing we're going to do is have a discussion after you watch this video where you're going to make a prediction about which tendency you think you are. Without taking the quiz, without knowing a whole lot about it, you're going to make a prediction about which tendency you think you are. And there's 4 kinds. There's one. The first one we'll talk about is an upholder. These are people who are, readily eager to respond to both outer expectations, things that other people ask of them, and inner expectations, things that they ask of themselves. So upholders really uphold everything. The next kind is a questioner. And this tendency tends to question everything. They'll meet an expectation if it makes sense to them after they have questioned it and after they've researched it and they know all the things. So this is the questioner. The next kind is the obliger. And you can think about this as this is the kind of person who meets outer expectations. So deadlines and work for other people, completing tasks for other people. But when it comes to inner expectations, taking care of things for yourself, that's a real struggle. So that's the obliger. So you can see how the upholder and the obliger are somewhat similar, but the obliger struggles to follow through on expectations that are inner expectations. And then the final one is the rebel. And this is one who resists all expectations, inner and outer. Okay? So your job is to think about just on that information alone, and if you need to rewind 20 seconds and listen to me explain it again, that's fine. But based on that short explanation alone, in the discussion below, attached to this, put down which tendency you think you are and why you think that is. One note is that we are kind of living in extreme circumstances. So sometimes that means it's harder to, like, we might not be our normal selves. So just talk about who you are in this moment, because that's who we are. I feel like what I would answer right now is different than it might have been 8 months ago before the pandemic. So just answer for yourself right now. And we're all going to be doing this discussion during class. So feel free to respond to each other and comment on each other's. We want to create an encouraging community here as we explore ourselves and build our awareness of ourselves. And one way we can do that while we're in this remote format is by commenting on each other's discussion posts and asking questions. So please do that to encourage learning and just encourage our interaction.